How is everybody doing today? Doing all right? Good. I hope you are. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you today. Stay for that. I know all the time people are like, oh, I didn't bring anything. I can't stay. Yes, you can. I didn't bring anything either. My wife did, but I didn't do it. She did it. Listen, stay. Let us get to know you a little bit. Please, I encourage you to do so, and take opportunity. This is a great opportunity. I have people all the time. They're like, I don't even know half of these people. Well, go talk to them, right? Go speak to them, sit down with them, introduce yourself. There's a decent number of people here, and sometimes I look at it and I think, man, I can't keep up with all these people. I can't. God can, and we can keep up with one another. And that's what the church needs. It needs its members invested in being disciples of Jesus, in loving and caring and reaching out. And you'd be shocked how many people just need someone to show a little interest. Say, you matter, you're valuable before God. His son died for you too. And there is a way of life. I believe that. There is a way of doing life that is so much better than what the world offers. I got to get to my sermon. I'm going to listen. If I get started, something's going to get overcooked in there probably, so I won't do that. But I do hope you want a different life than what the rest of the world is living. I mean, I hope to goodness you look out at this and you're like, this is silly. Like the stuff people are doing and chasing and they're all about, it doesn't make any sense and we're dust, right? And if this is it, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? Nothing. All right, that was free. That was different, okay? So the 90s were good. I'm a child of the late 80s, early 90s, and that was a good time. I've been on a little bit of 90s nostalgia recently. I don't know why. And I complain about being too nostalgic. Ecclesiastes 7 and 10, do not say, why were the former days better than these? It is not from wisdom that you ask this. We shouldn't live in the past. And I'm not saying the 90s were better and my childhood was better, but it was, all right? I mean, listen, it was good. There were some big leaps in technology in the 90s, but it hadn't taken over our lives at that point. Like there was still more to the world than what's behind our screens and our phones. Disney made great movies in the 90s. The Lion King, man, that whole Circle of Life thing and all that good stuff. Like that was awesome. Aladdin, I loved Aladdin. That was just, we almost had that thing memorized. I still remember, we've got an old VHS video. Andy's there. He was Andy still back then, not Danny. And he was there, and we were watching Aladdin in the background at Mom and Dad's house on Thanksgiving. It was a good time to be alive. And I don't know, maybe it was because I was a kid, or maybe it was due to the house I was raised in. But I truly believe that at least from a superficial view, I think the 90s carried itself as a little more clean and wholesome. Does that make sense? Our TV was family friendly. You had to be. Officer Carl Winslow and Steve Urkel, you had to be family friendly. Danny Tanner and Full House, that was kind of clean and wholesome stuff. And there is some truth to the fact that as kids, we were just exposed to a little less. There was less of that was acceptable in society at the time. And as a result, our house had some strict rules on some things. Example, I don't imagine I'm the only one that grew up in a house where we could not say the word sucks. Like that was not, am I the only one that experienced that? Thank you. Yeah, that was not okay in my house to say. Sometimes I would actually say that vacuums is what I would say instead of saying the other word because that would get me in trouble. Trying to break the rules without, you remember that, don't you, Sarah? You remember that? Sarah Beth knows what I'm talking about. And another phrase, Mark, where you at, Mark? by the way, that was not okay to toss around in my house and say to one another was, shut up. Yeah, we didn't say that. No, as a matter of fact, we came up with inventive ways for that too. Like cierra la boca. Is that right, Polly? Did I get that right? In Spanish, that means shut your mouth. And if you added onto that, tu boca la grande, your mouth is big. We were trying to say, shut up, you big mouth. Does that make sense? But we wanted to do it in a way that was safe and wouldn't get us in trouble. And I kind of hope my mom doesn't watch this sermon now because I don't want her to threaten me with soap in my mouth. We did that in the 90s too, by the way. Liquid soap one time. We didn't have any bar soap. She squirted liquid soap on my tongue and rubbed it in. I thought I was going to vomit, but maybe that would fix some things today. I don't know. But you might have noticed, as Mark pointed out, the message today is shut up and listen to Jesus. And I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to be edgy. There are some places where we need a harsh reminder, a strong reminder, a hard stop to say, stop making so much noise. Why do we always have so much to say? God needs less of our mouths and more of our ears and our hearts. That's what he needs. He has something worth saying, but we are so noisy sometimes, we don't hear it. Take a look here in Matthew 17 again. Make sure we're all on the same page. After 6 days. Now that's important because Matthew says that to connect this event to the previous event. He wants you to know 6 days later, so that last event was probably important. We're going to talk about some of that in just a moment. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter and James and John, his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. Doesn't that sound magical right there? Just getting away from everything and going up high. And some of us are reading that. We're saying, that's where I want to live. And apparently Peter did too. And it says he was transfigured before them. Speaking of Jesus, his face was shining like the sun. His clothes became white as light, just bright, unbelievably so. And behold, there appeared to them Moses and Elijah talking with him. And Peter said to Jesus, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you want, I'll make 3 tents here, one for you and one for Moses and one for Elijah. By the way, when do you pitch a tent? Is it when you're getting ready to leave or when you probably will stay a while, aren't you? Yeah, if you're pitching a tent, you're planning on staying a while. He's talking about building shelters. Tabernacles sometimes is the term that gets used there. He says, I want to build some structures here, Lord. We'll make a house for each way up on this mountain, right? We'll just stay a while. He was still speaking, and behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud. Do you think this was a soft, gentle voice or a pretty hard, stern voice? I always imagine a pretty hard and stern voice at this scene. This, not you, Peter, or James, or John, not even Moses, not Elijah. This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell on their faces and were terrified. But Jesus came and he touched them. He reaches out to them. And he says, rise, don't be afraid. When they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. And as they were coming down the mountain, they didn't pitch tents and stay up there. Jesus commanded them, tell no one the vision until the Son of Man is raised from the dead. You've probably heard these verses. I imagine a lot of you have. Maybe you haven't. This is a scene we call the transfiguration of Jesus. And in this scene, Jesus is essentially glorified. The humanity is peeled back for a moment, and they get a glimpse of who they're really dealing with. It is ripping imagery from the apocalyptic Son of Man image in Daniel chapter 7, when the Ancient of Days, that's God, brings forth another one with eyes like fire and all this power. He is a man who everything else stops and is silent before. And whatever his plan is, whatever he wants to do, it's going to get done, because he's that kind of of being. Now, Jesus here is nearing the end of his physical life. And in the previous chapter, this is the important connection here, Matthew 16, we've got a scene that is significant. Peter is talking there too. Actually, some good, some bad. Because Jesus asks his followers, they're traveling along, he's getting ready to go to Jerusalem to the cross. They still don't understand what he actually is going to do. They actually still don't like what he's going to do. They've got their own plan, they've got their own words, they've got their own ideas of how Jesus should go about establishing his kingdom. And so Jesus asks them, who are people, what are they saying about me? What's the word? That's a dangerous question to ask, isn't it? I mean, do you really want to know what people are saying about you? A lot of days I don't, I'll just be honest with you. But Jesus says, what do they say? Who am I? So they say, well, some say you're Elijah or John the Baptist or one of the prophets. Jesus says, okay, all right, that's everybody else. What do you know? Who do you say that I am? And Peter here, think about what he says. He says, you are the Christ. What's that word mean? Messiah, anointed one, God's chosen king, right? You're the Christ, and you are the Son of the living God. Wow. I mean, if you're going to actually call somebody that, that's not like a small thing. That's massive. That means you are and you possess way more than I can ever dream of being. And whatever you say, presumably, should go, right? Except they haven't figured all that out yet. Because right after Peter makes that declaration, Jesus starts talking about what the Son of Man, that's him, from Daniel 7 again, is going to do. He's going to suffer many things at the hands of the chief priests and elders. He's going to be killed, but he'll rise again on the third day. And I just want you to think about the irony here. As soon as Peter says, you're the Christ, the Son of God, and he says, I'm glad you get that. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. And Peter says, no, not that way. Right? Isn't that a bit crazy? And yet, do we do it sometimes? Do we profess God with our lips and then say, no, God, here's how it's going to go. Here's how I think my life should work. Here's what you need to do next. This is what I'm looking for, God. Let me explain it to you. Let me tell you how I want things in my life to work out. I mean, all the time we confess God's greatness, we post about it online, and then we question his timing. We doubt his goodness. We recoil from holiness or from the cost and the suffering of his plan and of his calling. And so all of this leads up to Matthew 17. And in part here, I think, look, God didn't do this because he was like, okay, we need some filler material here. Let's transfigure you on the mountain. They needed to see this because they still weren't getting it. Who he is and what that means for their lives. Just like sometimes we need to see it because we don't get it. We come in here and we make some proclamations and we sing some songs and we say, I'm surrounding the table. And then we go about Monday and we're like, all right, here's how I'm going to do my life. Even though you're the Son of God and you're the Messiah and you're God's chosen king and all of that would imply I'm going to submit to you because you know better than I know. We still walk back and say, here's what I'm doing today. Here's my life. Here's my goals. So we come to Matthew 17. And you've got these two great figures with Jesus. You've got Moses and Elijah. And this is just, it's powerful stuff. It's encompassing all the old covenant, the greatest of lawgivers, and the greatest of prophets. And yet they show up to listen to who? Jesus, right? That's who they're wanting to hear from. And in the midst of all this, Peter says he's still not ready. Remember, Jesus just told him, hey, I'm going to Jerusalem in just a little while. I'm gonna suffer, I'm gonna die, here's what I'm gonna undergo. And now they get up on this mountain and Peter's like, hey, you know what, let's just stay here. Change of plans, huh? Let's not go to Jerusalem. Let's not, you know that stuff you were talking about earlier, Jesus? And I said, hey, don't do that, and you got a little mad. You were like, get behind me, Satan. And I know you probably didn't mean that, right? You didn't mean get behind me, Satan. You just meant, this isn't, it's not gonna work like you want. But we can do this. Let's just stay here on this mountain. Let's just do our own thing. The voice of God speaks from heaven. Now, obviously, you and I have never encountered a voice like this. I'm not sure that we'd want to. A lot of people are like, oh, I'd love to hear God speak to me today. Would you? I mean, would you really? Like this? Like right when you're in the middle of something you're not supposed to be, God says, hey. And you're like, oh, no. Huh? I mean, it takes me back to my childhood. I'm in the opposite room, and I'm like, this sucks. I don't know if I can hear. And all of a sudden, Dad's like, Joseph! And I'm like, oh, no. And I did the same thing the disciples did. I would fall on the ground convulsing in fear, thinking it's over, right? Now, joking aside, though, this would have been a hard stop. I mean, it would have been an absolute rock your world kind of moment. And as impolite as it may sound, it's almost like God is saying, would you just shut up and listen? Now, I know, I don't think it's okay for me and you to say that to people. I'll just be honest. Because to me, when you say that, you're saying what you have to say doesn't matter. Like you don't even have a right to speak right now. I don't think you should make any noise at all. I don't really think as people trying to love one another, trying to do unto others as we want others to do unto us, trying to be kind and I don't think we really have a right to talk like that. But I think God does. I think he does. I think he can look at us and say, you need to stop right there. And you need to listen to what I have to say about you and your life and your world and your problems, because all your talking and plans, maybe you haven't noticed, but it's not getting you anywhere. It's not taking you where you need to be, and it's certainly not accomplishing what needs to happen, as I want you to bear my image in this world. Something odd happens next, too. This caught my attention. Because you think about this really harsh break on Peter right here, and what's he do in response when God speaks? You remember he falls down, and he's just shaken in fear. And so right after God says, be quiet. See, I still can't say it very easy. Even after God says, shut up, right? I got to say it quieter. And listen to my beloved son. What's the first word Jesus speaks to him? Isn't it great? He says, get up. Don't be afraid. Wow. That's the guy I want to listen to, isn't it you? He's like, come on, I've got you. It's okay. Come on. I know it's hard. And I know when we go back down this mountain, it's going to be back into the nitty-gritty reality of life with problems and pain and brokenness and loss. I know it's hard, but I want you to get up because who's leading them back down the mountain? Jesus is. He says, come on with me, get up, don't be afraid. Because I'm going to take you through some hard spots. Sometimes you're in the valley of the shadow of death, but you don't need to fear evil because I am with you. My rod and my staff, they'll comfort you. Man, what a scene. Any of you have noisy lives? Noisy lives, you live that a lot. Yeah, I live there too. Back last week, it was the night before school. Amy and I, first day of school, and we get in bed. Listen, we're early to bed people. If you didn't, I've told you about that before, because we get up early. It's just the way our life is right now. It's our schedule and things. And so I know Amy's tired. She's been working all week to get her classroom ready. I was tired because I had some things going on, and so we lay down to go to bed, and what's the first thing we hear? Well, first it's Levi, who goes down I guess he thinks if he goes faster down the steps, he makes less noise, you know? It's kind of like that theory of when it's raining really hard, the faster you run, the less you get wet. I don't think it works. I know the noise doesn't work. So like I hear him speed run down, I don't know how he doesn't fall. Speed run down the stairs and back up, okay? So I'm like, oh, all right. So then that's over, and 10 minutes later, Isaac has a very different approach. He's like, you are going to hear me. So he comes like, and then our door opens. I can't go to sleep. I'm like, neither can I, right? And he does this sometimes, and I get it. I have a hard time going to sleep. He has a hard time going to sleep some night. I was so mad. Amy was mad. Like, Amy and I both are like, we're not saying anything because we like get to bed before I, end you. But we're rolling back and forth, huffing. Kind of how you do that sometimes. And we're counting down the things. Like, I don't know if she was, I was. That's what I do. I'm like, if I go to sleep now, I can still get 6 hours. No, that's gone. If I go to sleep now, I can still get 5 hours. Oh, that's over. 4.5 hours. If I go to sleep in the next 10 minutes, I know maybe it'll be enough. And then when I get woke up at night, and I know you do too, I start running through every single problem in my world, real or imagined. I wrestle them all out. I sit there and think through everything going on. I plan out my next 2 months for no reason at all, even though James tells you, you don't know what your life will be. You don't know about tomorrow. You're a vapor that appears for a short while and vanishes away. Just say, if God wills it, it's going to happen. Otherwise, I'm going to live in today. But we don't listen because we don't stop making noise. We just keep adding to it. I know the world's noisy. I get that. And I know that there are things that we wrestle with. But when we're laying in bed at night and we can't even pray to God effectively because we're so obsessed with our goals and our problems and our plans and our wants, maybe we need to talk less and listen more. Maybe that's where the problem starts. And I'm not saying this is a magic fix for everything. There are no magic fixes. We need to remember, we're dust. This is not our world. We need to listen, and we need to follow. Listening doesn't just mean, hey, I heard you, by the way. I tried that some growing up, too. I heard you. I didn't do it. That didn't go well, did it? Huh? Not with my dad. I don't know, maybe this gentle parenting thing, it goes differently, but it did not go well. If I just said, yeah, if Dad came to me and said, I told you not to do that, I'm like, I heard you. Okay, what'd you do it for? I didn't care. I mean, that's going to end with me like in the ER problem. I would have never said that. Again, cowering on the ground, shaking. That's where I would have been right there. We can't just listen. Oh, listen, we got to do it. I love James 1:22. Be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. I still remember the way Billy said it those years ago when he came and did our youth. Do you remember that? I love that. Whenever he came and he said, don't just hear the word, do what it says. Don't just hear it, go do it. That's what listening is. There are times we're a lot like Peter and the other apostles. Lord, let's do it this way. I'm just gonna focus on me right now. Well, Jesus, I know this sin is serious, and I know you tell me not to do it, but it's my crutch. It's what's getting me through the days. It's what's allowing me a little bit of peace. Because I'm just not going to listen to you right now. Well, Jesus, I know I need to be more serious about your words. I know I need to be more serious about. Have you read Matthew 7:21 and following? When he says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but he who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. He says, on that day, many will say to me, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, cast out demons in your name, do many mighty works in your name? And he says, I'm going to tell you, go away, depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I don't know you. Because you never really listen. How does he end that Sermon on the Mount? He says, whoever hears these words of mine and does them is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. Whoever hears these words of mine and doesn't do them, you're a fool. And your house is going to fall. It's going to be destroyed. Where in your life is there too much noise? Where are you talking too much or planning too much and you just need to be quiet and listen? Are you refusing to listen to Jesus in how you live? Are you refusing to listen to Jesus in how you worship? Are you refusing to listen to Jesus in becoming one of his disciples, in submitting your life to him? And yeah, that starts as we're baptized into Christ. When we hear God's word and we say, you know what, I believe this. I want to not be like the world. I'm going to repent of my sin and be baptized for the remission of those sins. That's where it starts. And maybe you haven't done that. If you haven't done that, you need to listen to Jesus. But if you have done it, are you still doing it? Because again, like if it was my dad and I listened to him one time, and he comes back later and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I listened to you once there. What? Again, that's a backhand or a front hand or a forehand. I'm not sure what the other word is there. But yeah, listen. Are you being quiet? I'll be polite there. And listening to Jesus. Are you doing what he's called you to do? Are you his at all? Here in a minute, we're going to sing a song. And it's an opportunity. Maybe you want to change because you know you're not listening to Jesus. And what it's an opportunity for is if you need to become a Christian by putting Christ on in baptism, we're ready right now to do it. The roast will wait. Or maybe you've done that and you're saying, hey, I just need to get back. And you want the church to pray for you because we are not perfect, myself included. We understand, we get it. I mess up, we all mess up. Maybe you're in a spot and you're saying, I need some help. That's what we're here for.